Alrighty, welcome everybody to these great PowerPoints. My name is Jayne Bryson and I'm a business coach, and what I'm going to be talking about right now is all about follow-ups. And it really doesn't make much difference on what industry you're in. Predominantly this is for the Enagic business, but following up is something that we all probably need to do in regards to any business on this planet that we're actually running. There has to be some sort of follow-up, whether it be by email, telephone, Facebook messaging, Instagram. There's always some sort of follow-up. So first of all, what I want to say is that following up, for me, you have to set up the follow-up from a follow-up. So when you're actually speaking to people, and doesn't matter which way you're going to be speaking to people, there's always going to be some sort of follow-up sequence. And if you don't make the sale at that particular point, well, then there may be a need for a follow-up. But I say that right at the beginning before I even ask them, is it okay for me to follow you up? So when you're actually talking to somebody, I always like to say, look, this may not be the best time for you. Do you mind me contacting you in the future? So that could be said really at any point at all. And generally what I do in a conversation is I bring it into the beginning of the conversation. So I really set up the follow-up before I even get to the end part, saying, even if they say no to me, or I need more information, I'm always following up. I'm always going to be giving them something extra. And of course, when you ask the question, is it okay for me to call you later on, ask for their permission. Is that okay? Is that okay, with you, if I can follow you up, because this may not be the right time. So when you say this may not be the best time for you, it could be that they're not ready right now, or they're using some sort of excuses, or maybe they're just really busy and they can't talk to you, and that's okay. So following up is tricky sometimes, because you may go and see somebody and they may not be ready for whatever reason that may be, and they may go into the witness protection program, which means that they don't acknowledge your messages. They will not call you back. They basically, it's like they've totally evaporated from your life. And the reason why they do that is because of maybe they could be embarrassed. Maybe they have a lot of insecurities about it. Maybe you didn't give them enough trust. Maybe they needed more information. Maybe they went home and spoke to, a relative, partner, and then therefore they become a little bit embarrassed and they don't actually contact you. And it happens all the time, especially on Facebook Messenger now. And, that happens quite a lot. So with the follow-up, if they're not ready at all, then basically I'll give them like 14 to 30 days, especially if they say, look, they're not really ready and I've done everything that I can. Then I don't really want to be hassling them at all, because you may then get someone who gets a little bit angry. And I've had that, I've really had that before, that I've had people that have said to me, look, Jayne, such and such has been hassling me. They've been calling me all the time and messaging me all the time. And I'm not interested right now, but I am in the future, but it's a problem. So if you're going to be hassling people on a daily basis, I would personally hate that myself, right? The key really is to, if they are really interested in joining the Enagic business, or even just purchasing a Kangen machine, try and get it done on the spot. And that's why the paperwork is really good, to get the paperwork out. Like if they've ticked all the boxes and they've said, yeah, I have the finance, I've got the money, I'm ready to go, it's something that I would like to do, then the only follow-up you're going to be doing is making sure that they're in the system. They're in our system. And that's really important, to make sure they're in the Facebook group. Maybe if they want to meet me, great, and make sure that they're taken care of. So I generally book a time before I leave. So if they're not ready to actually join, then what I do is I say, okay, well, what day would you like me to come back? Like, I'm busy, you're busy, let's see if we can schedule a time. Because I don't really want to be working around them, because then I lose control. So if I'm going to be really, really flexible with my time and say, oh yeah, look, I'm available whenever, just call me whenever you like. Like, I'm just available 24/7. That really, you're giving away your power. So they're busy and you're busy, and there needs to be an understanding, and then you've got that equality between them, like between you and them. So I personally have a follow-up Friday. So every Friday I follow up a lot of people, and that's what I do, and I call it Follow-Up Friday. And it's probably a really good idea that our whole team actually does a Follow-Up Friday, where what happens is you go through everyone that you've spoken to in that week, or it could be, if you're just starting a Follow-Up Friday, like could be like a month ago or even 2 months ago, write down a list of names and then go through and follow people up. That's a really, really good idea. So when you do that, you basically can send them messages on Facebook Messenger. You can actually call them, just pick up a phone and call, or maybe just text and say, hey, are you available today sometime? I'm free between 2 and 4. Love to catch up with you to see how you're going. And generally when I've done that, people have said, yeah, look, I'm actually available right now. And I'll say, great, okay, let me grab a tea or a coffee and some water, and then let's hop on a call. So I generally do about 15 to 20 people on a Friday, and it's like, I just call it Follow-Up Friday. So I don't know whether you'd like to put that into your regime. It's really good. It's just one day a week, and go, okay, well, I'm going to just contact 10, 15 people. I generally do around 15 to 20 people every single Friday. How did I get that? I basically learned that from Tanya Eliza on YouTube. She was talking about follow-ups, and I thought, wow, that's actually a really good thing. And she learned that from someone else. So ideas on follow-up, book a time before you leave. So it could be something like this. Okay, John, sounds like you need a little bit more time. Let's plan to circle back around and set some goal date for us so that we can go to the next step. I don't want to feel like I'm bugging you and calling you each day. So what day after tomorrow can we reconnect? This is going to take you to the next step. So you really, before you leave, you really want to get them understanding that you don't want to bug them. How many days do you need? You could say, look, I'm actually available on Wednesday afternoon between 2 and 4. Does that suit you? Let's reconnect. So it's just a little message. So sometimes what happens is you may, like this one, it's got like, hey, John, it's Jayne here. I'm on time for a 2 p.m. meeting that we set up with each other here the other day. I hope everything is okay because you're not here yet. So I don't know about you, but this has actually happened to me. Now, it's only happened once to me. And what I've done, right, is I've actually reconfirmed the day before or even the morning before. Like, are we going to be setting up a time? Like Jerry, we met late last week, and he texted me like an hour before. Are we going to meet at 12 o'clock? And I said, yeah, we're going to. So he did a perfect follow-up. So of course, it's a really good idea if you're going to set a time to make sure you follow up. If they set an appointment with you, then it's their job to follow you up. If you have set an appointment with them, it's your idea and it's your organization, then you need to follow up that person, right? So that's a really good idea. Now, if you go somewhere and you haven't done that, this only happens when you haven't actually reconfirmed it. You may be sitting there, and then you're going to have to say, can you please call or text me right back away to let me know you were right, and talk about rebooking with another if we need to, right? So this is if you haven't followed up at all, if you haven't even reconfirmed it, there could be a situation where you're going to hang out in a meeting and they're not going to actually be there. So of course, If it does happen and they're not there at all, then what happens is you're going to have to say something like, hey, John, just reaching out again. I'm sure, hope, everything is okay. I left you a message a couple of hours ago in regards to our meeting today that we planned with each other. I waited for you for 20 minutes and I had to get to another meeting. Just wanted to make sure that everything is okay. Call or text me back and let me know. Now, what I've actually found that 90% of those people won't call you because they're embarrassed. And they actually haven't got and they're actually not polite. I mean, the thing is that do you want really people like that in your team? That, if they say and they commit to a particular time or a day and then they don't even show up, it's, everything you do is very reflective, right? So your actions. So if someone did that to me, I would really go, okay, well, that shows a little bit of characteristic that I don't really like. And they'd have to really, from that, I don't know whether I would really trust them in the future unless they had a car accident or something major happened in their life. Then you will go, okay, yeah, that's cool. But it takes you maybe 5 seconds to actually follow up. So there's an old saying, how you do everything is how you do anything in your life, which is true. So a late follow-up, you can say, hey, John, I left a couple of messages with you. So this could be maybe, a week later, after they haven't really touched base with you. So you can say, hey, John, I've left you a couple of messages yesterday regarding our meeting that we planned with each other and I haven't heard back from you at this point. I really hope you're okay and nothing serious happened. I don't want to feel like I'm bugging you with these follow-up calls, so I'm going to cross you off my list for now. And when you get a moment, please just call or text and let me know if you're okay. Now, the thing is that this message means I'm leaving my door open to you. Maybe your life is a little bit messy right now, but I'm still loving on these people and being kind to these people and letting them know, look, my door is open later on down the track. Again, you need to work out, do I really want this particular person on my team or in my business? Because if they do it at this stage, it's more than likely that they're going to do it again. So when people, now this is really good because I actually spoke to you earlier before this, the Zoom call recording, but I've been listening to Dan Locke. And Dan Locke, he is an amazing person for closing people. And if someone says to him when they're talking about, like Dan Locke says, he explains everything, whatever, and then that person says, I'll get back to you. He doesn't actually accept that in his conversation. Are they being polite? Are they really telling you the truth? And the thing is Dan Locke believes that when someone says, I'll get back to you, you've got to work out, well, how come they're going to get back to me? So he says something like, I hear that from some people, and I'd like to say, what would it take for us to do business together today? So that's the sort of question you like. And I think you should write that down because I've listened to a lot of Dan Locke's and he's like a top closer on this whole entire planet. He does have programs. It's really, really amazing when you start listening to the way that he actually speaks. But that's what he says. He wants to know, how come you want to get back to me? Is it the price? Is it the business? Is it the way we're doing it? So it's really, really important, to say that, what would it take for us to do business today? What would it take for you to actually start the order for the Kangen machine? Like basically, what do you actually need more of? And also he had on one of his YouTubes I was listening to, he was saying that, he was trying to close a really, really big deal. And this guy, he basically said, okay, well, would you like to hear testimonials? Would you like me to send you some testimonials? Would that help you, do more research? And he said, yeah, that would be really great. And maybe would you like to speak to someone who's actually, getting results by what we're actually doing and the service that we're providing. And then the guy said, yeah, actually, I would like to know that. So it's a matter of like really getting very, very specific when people say, no, not now, I'll get back to you, let me have a think about it. All of these Dan Locke will not accept. And he'll go, oh, he will never say, oh, okay, yeah, get back to me. Because you know what? 99% of people don't do that because there is not enough value, there is not enough information, and you haven't actually nutted out exactly what their issue is. So it's really, really important in regards to understanding that whole concept. And so if anyone says to you, I'll get back to you, no, not now, I don't think this is whatever excuse they're going to come up with, you've really got to come back and say, you know what, I hear that a lot, but what will it take for us to purchase this Kangen right now? What is it going to take? What do you actually need from me so we can do business today? Because it's going to take XYZ to get the forms done. It's going to take XYZ. And instead of using the word buy, it's own. When can I get you to own your own Kangen machine? How can we get a Kangen machine in your kitchen as soon as possible? What is it going to take for us right now to do business to get the form signed? Is it the price? Is it part of the business? Is it the way that I did something? They're the questions. These are really, really important. If you learn anything from this, get this, because it's really, really big to understand the lingo of when people say all of those excuses, because they're just BS excuses. So I will get back to you. What part of the deal don't you like? Because listen, prospects actually lie. There are so many people, like I do remember when I was in clinical practice and I had a client who was beating me down on price. And I fell for it and I said, sure, I'll give you a discount, right? So I did. But when I looked at her car, when she drove away, it was like a Mercedes Benz. So I thought from that day on, I will never discount my services because I value myself. So prospects actually lie with what they tell you, why they can't actually get started, can't afford it. I'll get back to you. I have to speak to my husband, my wife, my sister, brother, my dog, Aunt Mavis down the road. All of these they're protecting themselves. And the thing is, you've got to get through that. There's a lot of resistance when people do that, but you've got to really get down to the truth of what is actually going on. And the more you practice all of this, the better it's going to be to close the deal. And you know what? You're not even going to need a follow-up. You're not, because you're going to do business straight away. That's the way it's going to work. So how do you enhance your relationships? And this is really important because you know what? Like with people who have money, who don't have money, the major difference, right, is that it's not a money problem. It's actually a skill problem. It's getting enough skills so that you can actually make money. It is never a money problem. And the reason why I know that is because the more skills you have, the more value you can give to others, the more money you're going to make. That's just the way that it is. If you're going to be a person who works in the supermarket all their life, there is nothing wrong with that, right? It's a particular skill set that they've learnt, and it's a holding pattern because there's a certain amount of money that they're actually going to make. Now, during that 20 or 30 years of working as a supermarket, it could be anything, a teller or whatever it might be, if that person doesn't use skills outside of that job, their skills are not going to give any more value to make more money. This is very, very important. That just came out of my mouth. So the more skills you have, the more money you can make. That's it. So if you're in a job and you've been in a job for a long time and it's in the comfort zone, you're going to keep on making that same amount of money, because what's going to happen is you haven't increased your skills. So increasing your skills are things like digital marketing, getting online, learning about YouTube, learning about Instagram, learning about Facebook. These are all income producing skills that you're going to use to actually make more money. And there's a whole list of other things you can do as well, but that's considering we're just talking about Enagic and affiliate marketing. I'm trying to keep it sort of not that general. But relationship enhancers, like it's all about people trusting you. If people don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you, period. If they don't like you, if they don't like your face, if they don't like your manner, if they don't like the way that you're speaking to them, they're not going to do any business with you. It doesn't matter how many beautiful other skills you might have. If you don't get the right tone right, if you don't have enough empathy, right, emotional connection with community, it's going to be extremely hard for you to actually make more money. So how do you actually increase your communication? Is that you've got to really focus on a long-term vision in regards to the relationship that you're actually having with your Enagic distributors. It has to be long-term. And I say that with all my team members. This is not just like a 6-month thing. This is family relationship for the rest of my days that I'm going to be doing Enagic, right? As long as the company keeps going, then, you know, it's focusing on long-term. Long-term for you might be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might be. Focus on long-term. These are not sell people a machine and say, there you go, connect it yourself and go on YouTube and learn it all because I'm off to the Bahamas. That's not going to work, right? So deliver more than promised. Always work harder and do more. And then what will happen is you're going to be increasing your skills. The same as I'm saying, you know, money, skills, communication, that's where it's all at. So calling regularly to make sure that people are okay, right? So if I don't hear from some people after a while, I'll say, hey, I'm just reaching out. I'm just, you know, checking in with you to see how you are. And I'm doing that frequently. And I recently did it to someone, and now we're having a water presentation next Saturday. And then I got in contact with the distributor who gave me that particular person to let that person know. And so this is, I'm just over delivering. And I think that that's a really big, important thing to do, is over deliver more than what people actually expect. So call regularly, add value, always add value. Send them YouTubes. If you see a really good YouTube, right, on our training page and our Kangen Wealth, I'm constantly scanning to see what else can I add to add value. And that's why I send, you know, different things on the training in regards to the, I just let someone in here. In, you know, the training in regards to, you know, Instagram or YouTube. I'm trying to do as much as I can, adding value to everybody. As soon as I hear some really good information, then I pop it on, you know, our Facebook channels. So keep all the communication lines open. Just be really, as much as you can, available, but you're really busy. But communication line open is just set the tone. You know, tell people, look, I'm going to be busy from, you know, 9 till 4 today, but I'm available between 6 and 8 or whatever it might be. Just make sure people know your schedule and what you can and can't do. And of course, take responsibility. You've really got to take responsibility for absolutely everything. You're creating your own reality. You're creating your own business. It's really, really important. So relationship destroyers. So these things are going to totally destroy your relationship. Now, there's about 100 of these, right? But I'm just giving you just a couple. So focus on short-term relationship destroyer, right? This is not like a quick sell and run away. That's not how I do business, and I hope that you don't either. So overpromise, underdeliver. So if you're going to tell someone, look, I'm going to deliver a machine, like as soon as you get your machine, this is adding value. You know what I can do is as soon as we put through the order, I'm going to come to your house, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to make sure everything is okay. And then you don't do that, then that's going to be a problem. And then call like here and there sporadically, that's a problem too. So it's got to be fairly consistent in regards to what you're doing. talking too much is also a relationship destroyer. It doesn't matter where you are in the consultation and talking. And they can never reach you. Like, you don't answer phones, you never answer your messages, you're not around. And you know what? I have found quite a few people, actually not that many, but I can name a few that I can never reach. And I wonder how well their online affiliate marketing, business is actually going, because they get back to me a week later, 2 weeks later, and I know they're online. They can just never be reached, right? So that's a problem. So if you can't do that, that's going to be a relationship destroyer. If you lie about anything, if you exaggerate stuff, if you blame someone else for all your things, everything that comes out of your mouth in regards to when you're communicating with people really is a huge, big deal. And again, it's like, all about mindset. So basically, I just want to say happy follow-up. I'm going to be open for questions right now, but for YouTube, I'm going to put like all the links down the bottom, and you're welcome. I have a free ebook actually on alkaline and acidity water. Like, it's a really good one. So you can click on that link. You can also email me if you need anything. And I'll look forward to basically speaking to you as soon as you reach out to me. So health, wealth, and happiness. And I'll speak to you soon.